And let's go ahead and bring in Lincoln Mitchell joining us again. He's a political analyst and writer and an adjunct associate professor of political science at Columbia University. And Lincoln, I want to start with Trump's team because I'm watching the video here of his lawyer wrapping up their closing argument, saying that the prosecution failed to address the issues of constitutionality and also the First Amendment defense that he argues Trump is entitled to. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a political scientist, so I will give you my perspective, but I'm not an expert on the First Amendment. From the political science perspective, the reason there is an impeachment clause in the Constitution is because it doesn't have to be a criminal conviction. So, for example, as a private citizen, if I go out on my steps tomorrow and I yell out, the United States should turn itself over to Russia because Vladimir Putin would do a better job and would be better as part of Russia. That is protected. I don't believe that, by the way, but that would be protected by the First Amendment. If the President of the United States says that, it is still protected by the First Amendment, but it is an impeachable offense because he's betraying his oath. So the First Amendment, I suspect that in a court of law, this would be considered protected speech, but that's not the point. The point is, as president, he violated his oath. So the First Amendment, it's an interesting point. I don't know that it's really relevant. Now, we have to remember that the acquittal will come not because the defense made a better argument, but because Republican senators are afraid of Donald Trump.
And really, that's a reminder that this is, you said, not a criminal trial, but this is also not a regular jury of 12 peers that you would often see in a criminal trial. This, at the end of the day, is a partisan jury of senators, meaning the outcome is all but inevitable. So why go through the show?
Well, first of all, you're right. It is a partisan jury of U.S. senators, and they are not even trying to act like a jury. They're consulting with the defense team, right? So the charade of a jury, I think we should kind of put that aside. Why bother to go through it? Because the Congress needs to send a message to the American people and to the American people in future generations that this is not okay. And the fact that there's even a defense at all, the fact that this isn't just an open and shut conviction, that needs to be on the record. Now, if you support Donald Trump, then you support Donald Trump and you believe he didn't do anything. But it is worth putting on the record that at this moment in our history, at least some people, at least a majority of the House of Representatives and a majority of the U.S. Senate believes it was an impeachable offense. That's important for history, and that's important for America to say at least we didn't treat this like it was nothing and we should just move on and forget about it.
In the last hour, we heard the defense manager's head prosecution manager, Jamie Raskin, there, a congressman from Maryland's 8th District nearby here. And among the poignant things that he said, though, he talked about his children, and he mentioned again his son, Tommy. It's hard to ignore the fact that he buried his son, his 25-year-old son, just last month, who committed suicide on New Year's Eve. One of the things I was thinking about, and I wanted to ask you if you see any prominent figures that will emerge on a nationwide scale in the Democratic Party after this, right? You had the Brett Kavanaugh hearing that really propelled Kamala Harris into the national spotlight, ultimately perhaps leading her to that VP slot. Do you expect any sort of national prominence to continue from this?
Well, first of all, the story of Jamie Raskin's son is just heartbreaking. And mental illness, we throw around terms like this one's crazy, Trump is crazy, that kind of thing. Mental illness is a really tragic thing and something that we should all respect and take seriously and support those who are mentally ill and those who are the families of people who are mentally ill. And suicide is, of course, just heartbreaking. So as a parent of children in their 20s, my heart goes out to Jamie Raskin. He is emerging as a star here in a way not like Kamala Harris did, because I don't think Jamie Harris is going to be vice president anytime soon, but in a way that Adam Schiff did last year. He is a brilliant legal mind, and the country is seeing that. I want to say something else about Jamie Raskin, because you might watch that, and some of your viewers might watch that and say, wow, that guy's really sharp. Oh, he would be a great law school professor, right? That's what he did before this. He's a great legal mind. He's really making an important patriotic point. But a number of the people who stormed that Capitol, the people who supported that, there was a guy there wearing an Auschwitz t-shirt, sweatshirt. What they see is a smart Jewish lawyer. And they don't see that. I'm Jewish. I see that as a positive. But they see that there's a lot of anti-Semites out there who are seeing Jamie Raskin and saying, there's the problem. Another Jew who's too smart for his own good. And the anti-Semitism that was cultivated by the Trump administration was something that was often overlooked by the media, but it was a very serious problem. And I bet you that Jamie Raskin is getting all kinds of nasty, vicious, hateful, bigoted tweets, comments, and threats based on his faith and being Jewish because of what he's done over the last couple of weeks.